Hello everybody, this is Terry Jeanette with Be Creative, and today's video is all about the tour that I was able to go on MSC's private island called Ocean Key. All I had to do was buy a $20 t-shirt and be able to walk 5K.
Seashells back here. They serve as house for the wildlife around us. This island, most people think that this island is a man-made island, which is not true. This island is a natural island. It's a key actually, which is a smaller island. Most of the keys are inhabited. This is Bohemian territory, and Bohemian territory is made of islands and keys. Remember how many of them? There's a lot of islands and keys. Most of them not inhabited. And this island specifically was used for predatory fishing, and on the late 30s. In the late 30s, they used to use this whole region, which is very rich in coral reefs and naturally because of that, sea life was used as a predatory fishing site. On the 70s, it was acquired from an industry from the United States of America to be used as a mining facility. They were mining aragonite sand from here. And aragonite is used for the production of glass and cement, which we use to make concrete, right? And also was exported to the States to be used in the agricultural sector as well. This island was used as a mining facility. It's an industrial island until the 2000s. Of the 2000s, it was abandoned. So they left everything here, all the machinery, all the scraps, all whatever they have built was left here, and it was left to rot until the 2015, when the MSC company was looking for an island to place their private visiting spots for ships, and they found this island here, and they acquired this island from the Bohemian government on a lease, so we are allowed to use it for 17 years, more or less. And then they started all the cleaning. More than 15 tons of metal and scraps were taken from this island. We have to use metal detectors and professional scuba divers to remove metal from the sea around us and the metal buried under the sand. Because you guys already paid for it, but it's included in the experience, so it will take you all around the island, those dove carts, and just have to wait here in one of these stations. They will take you around the island. If you're feeling tired to come back, you also wait for one of these stations. It will take you back to the island. So, first stop, first place you're going to visit, it's the Lighthouse Beach. And it's called the Lighthouse Beach because you have a lighthouse in it. Yeah, very obvious. Our lighthouse, this beach, is the closest one to the ship. That's why it's the one that usually gets more crowded. Maybe for me? Okay. It's the one that gets more crowded, and it's the only one that we have fixed umbrellas. It's also the one that we have the parties, the DJ sets. Yesterday at 9 o'clock we had the Luna party here, which is a luau party. Let's just make some space for this cart, guys, please. Hello. The lighthouse show. This lighthouse, it's a real lighthouse. It is another cart. I'm sorry we have traffic. So we have authorities here from time to time to check on the lighthouse. Okay, but it's also for entertainment. It is entirely covered by LED lights. So you have a very beautiful light show with this lighthouse. When we have overnight. places. Since you go to the buffet, you can grab a snack here.
We have like 3 hours.
Okay. Oh, that's our lighthouse. We have a bar behind it. It's kind of a lounge bar with nice sofas. The person that likes lounge music and be by the sea, drink something nice. That's your place of that. Lighthouse bar. And the lighthouse, it's a dead end. So we're not going back.
Best place to snorkel. Sunset Beach.
Weddings here, very beautiful. If you're not married yet, you're planning to marry, or if you want to renew your vows, or this, you know, you have a shark nursery and it's the door.
South Beach.
We have 3 baby sharks. Don't worry, they escape. Okay, you don't have to leave yet.
Shallow, good for snorkeling. Sharks and turtles every now and then.
How many pairs of earrings did you make?
1 a day, so 11.
Oh, nice.
Hello.
I do that on all our cruises.
Okay. And also in this region,
They say that everywhere.
this island is Green Beach, or this region is where they say that if you want a picture, if you want, I can take it home. From the hospital, any water with human protects. And drunk water, so water that we use for cleaning, laundry, kitchen, pool. That's any kind of cleaning. Okay? So those waters, direct,
With you all, this is the history of how Ocean Key actually came about. As you guys know, it's now a private destination, but it wasn't that before, okay? So in the 1970s, Ocean Key was actually an industrial site. And at that industrial site, they were mining a natural carbonated chemical called aragonite. Now, if you guys are curious about aragonite, it can be found in multiple things. One, it can be found in some crystal ornaments that's actually made. It's usually in the aquariums for calcium to add to the atmosphere, and then also in cement, which is also a material that's used to construct houses, especially in the Caribbean, because it's a much more stronger material because we're around, the coastal oceans. Okay, so you guys, from the 1970s to 2016, which is quite a while, the infrastructure had basically decayed over time. And when the MSC cruise line actually acquired it, they had to pretty much start their cleanup process of the scrap metals, debris, and even some of the chemicals. As you guys can see, they started to expand the island as well, and they've used the sand in which the ships now sits in, the channel. So they've used that excess sand to add around to expand it. As you guys can see, South Beach wasn't there at all. They had to dredge in the middle to make sure that you guys have a secluded area where we're having harsh conditions. So 2017, this gentleman in the blue blazer, this is Mr. Barrow. He is the chairman of the executive board for the MSC Foundation. And then we do have the government officials over here to the right. This gentleman in the white, this is Perry Christie, and then the gentleman directly behind him in olive. This is Philip Brave Davis. So Philip Brave Davis is currently the Prime Minister of the Bahamas, and yes, you guys are still in the Bahamas. So the Bahamas actually consists of over 700 islands and keys, and 21 is actually inhabited. Okay. 2018, this is when the MSC Foundation was actually founded. Here at Marine Conservation Center, we do focus on conservation, but there are other initiatives that we do focus on worldwide. We do have emergency relief, community support, and also education. Okay? And if you guys are curious, well, who owns the company? It's the Appointed family. Okay, and yes, they are Italian. If you can't tell by the leaf. So they're not publicly listed on any of the exchanges, the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ. This company is actually privately owned. 2019, this is basically when the first ship was docked here, and the name of that vessel is called the Divina. It's a much smaller ship within the fleet. I can assure you that it's much smaller than Seashore. So right over here, 2020, this is when we found our program, which is the Super Coral Reef Program. Here we solely focus on coral propagation, amongst other things like sustainability, awareness, and conservation efforts. So it is a collaboration with one, the marine biologist here. Her name is Emmeline. She's someplace in the office. We're doing some work someplace around the facility, and then also with partnerships with various universities. So those universities are both American and Canadian. We do have Nova Southeastern University, the University of Miami, which is located in the state of Florida, and then we do have the University of the Bahamas, and then the Perry Institute for Marine Science, which will be the universities in the Bahamas. Okay. 2021, this is basically the groundbreaking event. Everyone has the cool shuttle there. We do have one mounted on the wall. I time to time tell kids we make sand castles with that one. Right above, this is Sophia Loren. She's an amazing Italian actress and an icon. And she is the godmother for majority of our ships. So we are honoring her with her handprint right above. So I think that's something that's pretty cool. This photo right here, you guys, 2022, this is basically a photo of our offshore nursery. And here we currently have about 18 to 20 trees. So each tree can actually hold about 35 to 40 coral fragmentations. So these are all smaller parts of a coral, but eventually when we do plant them, they're gonna grow into a massive coral reef. So this is a part of our coral propagation. Now this is 1.5 miles from Ocean Key. If you guys have walked past the marina, you can notice that we do have tons of vessels. We do take one out and we have our scuba diving gear, so we would scuba dive down there to basically check on the maintenance of our babies, basically, right? So we do check to make sure that no algae is growing on the PCP pipes. As you guys can clearly see, there's buoys at the top, and then it's a duck-built anchor at the bottom. So we periodically do get like stronger currents or tropical depressions that would randomly pass by, and so we don't want any tree that to be fallen over, so we do, like I said, periodically go in there to check. This is Dr. Sylvia Earle. I got the honor of meeting this lady. Absolutely amazing, so intelligent. So she's worked with National Geographic. She's also been one to the deepest oceans of the sea as a woman, predominantly in the male industry. And she is the founder of Mission Blue, where she works with government official diplomats to, formulate laws or policy to restore the ocean so that we do have less pollutions and things like that. So since our goals align with her, she does see Ocean Key as a hope spot. And I do have a lot of questions from the guests inquiring about where is this hope spot sign. So when you guys embark off of the ship, you're going to come across a blue tall tower building. You cannot miss it. And then directly to the left of that, you should find your hope spot sign. So if you guys would want to take a photo or video of that, you guys are welcome to do so. 2024, this is our partnership launch that we do have with the various universities that I previously listed. And then some of these are the presidents of those universities, and then our corporate team, which is situated in Geneva, Switzerland. So they all came down here for an event, took a cool photo, and now it's on the panel. So you guys, brings us to our current era. This entire facility has recently been built, specifically the 10th of April. That was when it was actually inaugurated. So we're still working on getting our filtration system up and running. However, we're not 100% functional, but we are open, okay? So if you guys would like to take a photo or a video of this entire panel, you guys are welcome to do so. If you guys need me to take a photo of you with it in the background, that's totally fine. In a moment, you guys, we're gonna step out. We're gonna make our way to the aquarium where we do have the tanks in which we're gonna be putting those corals in. Right now, real corals aren't in there, but we do have some artificial corals, so I can elaborate much more on the different types of species and then speak much more about the coral propagation or the process in which we are making these corals much more adaptive or resilient. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
How long does it take to see like significant growth in one of these?
So they grow in a rate of 2 to 3 centimeters per month / per year, just depending on the species. So that's quite a lot.
Yeah. And the lease that MSC signed for this place, what are the terms? How much are they paying?
Oh, we don't have that. That's kind of confidential. But the lease, it's about 50 to 60 years that they're paying with the government, because there's still land of the law here in which we're working of our hours and things like that.
What's the difference between an island and a key?
Well, it all depends on the land mass and then also how many people are actually living there. Usually, I would say it's over 4 miles for it to be considered an island, and over 100K people there for it to be considered that as well.
So this was a key.
This is a key.
And this was here.
This was here from agents. I mean, before it was a private destination, it was just an industrial site where they were doing much more like a commercial work.
And the one that's being built for the,
Right now, that information hasn't been disclosed as yet. So anyone's guess is as good as mine right now.
was it already a key?
No, actually, that was a sandbar. So they're building a top on it to expand it to create it as a key. So it's basically the same concept if you guys have went to Dubai to see the palms, which they made the islands that look like a tree. So it's the same concept as what they're doing over there. And they're still in the process of making it and constructing it, but as to what it's going to be, like I said, that information hasn't been disclosed.
I've been through the world, like to see like the see the one that we do the continents.
Yeah, I don't think they're gonna try and replicate that, but I'm sure whatever that.
A lot of money invested.
Oh, yeah. So you guys, we're gonna step up and we're gonna make our way to the aquarium. Doing some installation. There's still parts that needs to be imported, installed, tested before we can put the corals in here. So just for to make the tour very much more interactive, so you guys can actually see what these different species look like. We have some artificial corals in here, meaning that they are not real. Okay, so this yellow one right here that's sitting in the water, this is basically the elkhorns. This blue one right here, this teal, that's the color of your lovely shirt. That's the staghorn. And then this purple one right here, that's called the M-calf corals. And then of course you guys know that this is the bream corals. So you guys, this is basically the aquarium where we do have 22 tanks. And once we get this up and running, this is basically going to be a controlled environment in which these corals are going to be hosted. Now, what are we able to control in this controlled environment? We're able to control the pH balance, the salinity, the water temperature, the water flow, and also the UV lights, all right? So those are all factors that's actually needed for these corals to grow, reproduce, or spawn, as per se. Now, you guys may be wondering, well, why are we focusing on corals? Why not put different marine life here, like maybe a turtle or maybe some fish, right? Well, one, the corals are the core of it all. They filter a lot of the carbon emissions that's being released into the atmosphere by various universities. And then also, it's a habitat for at least 35% of the marine life. So this is kind of like their house. So usually when you're scuba diving or maybe snorkeling and you have on your mask, you can see like Nemo, Dory, you know, Franklin the turtle. They're all around the coral reef because it's a food source for them and a place where they actually reproduce, right? So you see a lot of that going on. And not just that, when we do have like tropical storms or depressions, these corals actually break the impacts of the waves. So our homes or our business, the infrastructure of it all doesn't get completely damaged, right? So that's the significance of, you know, the coral reef. And of course, if something goes wrong with the coral reef, imagine what happens to the animals that's depending on the reef as a habitat and a food source. Eventually, they're gonna get pretty much extinct, right? Because there's no way for them to reproduce or there's no way for them to feed themselves. Now, if you guys are curious as to, well, are corals rocks or plants or living organisms? They're actually animals, right? They're not plants, they're living organisms, and they feed on a type of algae known as zooplankton. Now, this zooplankton usually in the day, it finds itself at the surface, but at night it makes its way down to the seafloor in which the corals are at. Now, you guys are aware that corals are considered sestiles. So that's just a fancy word that means that they're stationary. They're not like you and I. When we're hungry, we can go into the kitchen and create a meal, right? Or order DoorDash. They don't have that underneath the ocean, I can assure you that. So once that zooplankton makes its way down at the bottom to the seafloor, those corals would actually extend their arms and grab the zooplankton to feed on. I have a cool photo in my phone. I'm gonna come around and show you all so you guys see like how the arm of the coral kind of looks, so you guys can see it, you know, in its living format, right? Oh, cool. Yeah. You guys see that? Oh yeah.
So I can't see it blaring. So for example, is that staghorn, did you say?
Yeah, this is the staghorn.
Staghorn.
This is the elkhorn.
So little arms will come out of that?
So out of the polyps, that's what it's called. That's what the corals are made up of. The arms actually extended themselves right out of it. But usually it's at night, or you can mimic the night by adjusting the lights. So that's kind of a way that you can kind of trick them in their feeding process. So that's something that we're also going to be doing as well. Now, if you guys are wondering, well, where are we getting this water from? It's actually from the ocean. There's an intake pipe coming from the back of the building. We have pipes running at the back, to our very right in this aquamarine building, there's a whole process machine that's taking out any debris or seaweed or anything that's unnecessary that we don't need in the tank, and then we can adjust everything else in terms of those factors, okay? So our whole concept is we find a healthy coral reef, we then take small coral fragmentations from that coral reef, we then put them in these various tanks, we then configure those factors, the salinity, the pH, the water flow, the water temperature, and then we'll be collecting data to see how these corals will be responding as we're, you know, progressively changing those factors. Once we do see those progress in regards to them being able to adapt and then also to grow, we then put them on our offshore nursery. That's 1.5 miles, which is that cool photo with the scuba diver with those coral fragmentations on those trees. Once they grow to about 9 to 10 centimeters, then we actually plant them. So there's an underwater epoxy that we would put at the base to attach each species with each other. So the elkhorns would be with the elkhorns, the sticorns would be with the sticorns, and the MCAFs would be with the MCAFs. And you guys are aware that corals, they're asexual, meaning that they reproduce by themselves. So by planting them, we're creating even much more of a structure of the corals, right? So that's kind of like the process in which we're doing here. Does anyone have any questions? And yeah, here we go.
I always have questions.
No, it's fine.
So how do you feed them? Do you
So
bring
the
plankton
zooanthely,
in?
yes, the plankton in from the water.
Oh,
naturally.
just directly. You don't add any plankton,
We
fish
can.
food, whatever.
We can add them, but usually they will be getting that from their natural resource in which we're putting in, pumping that water in from the ocean itself, once that goes through the filtration process. But right now, we're still working on that. We should be up and running by the end of the year, hopefully. We're still waiting on those parts to be imported, installed, and then tested. Then we can put those corals in here, right?
So when the process is finished, they all go back and dive and place them in strategic places in the ocean.
In the ocean, yes, once for our planting phase. So that would be at the last step of the process. Correct. So they're not staying in this controlled environment. This is just to make them much more resilient to our
And to
type
increase
of water.
the supply.
Yes.
To increase. How long do they have to stay here?
So it all depends basically on how they would be responding when we're changing that environment, and we won't know that until we get those parts there and to do that testing. Then I could be able to give that information. But my assumption, I would say at least about 6 months, because roughly they grow to about 2 to 3 centimeters per month. So by them adapting to us changing those configures, we can collect the data and then see how they're responding to this type of pH level, to this type of temperature, to this type of water flow, so on and so forth with the different factors.
So this doesn't look like this was a menu to a herd. Do you have any contingencies?
Yes, so we are going to be placing lids on top of, our tanks to make sure that the salinity doesn't bother with that. In regards to the hurricanes, there's still some infrastructure that's going to be placed. So it's not going to be as, open as it is now. There's going to be a door, and then there's going to be much more things to the sides. It's more protected. But like I say, we're still in our building phase. Keep in mind, we're only like 4 months in right now in regards to this entire facility being built. And right now, it's still a process. Any other questions, you guys?
Straightforward. I'm delighted to, on behalf of the MSC
Human island, scarred, forgotten, left behind by industry. A place that had given so much but had been abandoned in return. It took a family whose legacy is deeply intertwined with the sea to see its potential.
If you ever have the opportunity to visit Ocean Key, I highly recommend this tour. Thanks for joining me. Y'all have a great day. This is Terry Jeanette with Be Creative, signing out for now. Bye-bye.